A Doctor's Perspective Minisode, episode 32. Thanks for tuning in. A couple of weeks ago, I went to Shanghai again, the same place where, if you notice on the graphics for the minisodes, it was my face and words for like the first 14, and then now I've got like pictures. So during those pictures, that's when I went to Shanghai to the same hospital for ankylosing spondylitis, did a presentation, went back, and this guy's great. I mean, so much hospitality. I don't think they used me as well as they could have, while I was there for doing consults and things, but, it's their first time just doing it solo. But they're so hospitable. And, for like lunch, we just did it. We took dine-in, and it was my last day there, and I was like, oh, man, I saw a Subway sandwich shop. The other day I was telling you about Subway and like Pizza Hut and everything. Well, I saw one again. I was like, oh, yeah, man, I really want one. I don't get to get this, but like now once a month would be great. But before that, once every 6 months. So I was like, oh, man, I want one of those and one of their sweet, soft cookies. Yes. And he's like, you sure? I was like, oh, yeah. Well, he still ordered me their Chinese food. He had some fried noodles with some cumin beef. It was good, too. I took a couple of bites, and I thought it was for somebody else, but they share food anyway, so it really wouldn't have mattered. But it wasn't that. It was just me, him, and another guy, and he ordered 3 of those plus my Subway. And I was like, dude, they just threw it away. I was just like, I'm not eating it. I'm full. Like, I'm trying to tell you. So anyway, looking forward to doing that again. Like I said, very hospitable people, especially in food culture. They always are like, order more food. If they run out of food, it makes them look bad, so they'd rather waste. Did a fun Instagram video because they had all the king crabs and PP shrimp running around, or mantis shrimp, however you want to call it, in these aquariums, and you pick whatever you want. Oh, man. The mantis shrimp, by the way, PP shrimp. If you haven't had that and you get a chance, order it. Trust me, so delicious. Okay. Let's get to this episode. Art of Manliness, Long Distance Running, the myth. So I'm not a runner, not a big fan, don't like it. So this was definitely a podcast episode I wanted to hear about. What are the myths? So this guy said, hey, look, you need a goal with running. Have recovery days and running days. And if you have a program, that's the best way to do it. So a lot of people go out there, I'm going to start running. Cool. So they run for like 10 minutes. And the next day they run for 20 minutes. And then they go from like 1 mile. Then they jump into like 3 miles and 5 miles, all within like a month. And that's way too fast. So his idea is, look, you only need to run 3 times a week or so. Start slow. If you're slow, stay slow. If you can only do half a mile, do half a mile for like a week or 2. Then you add 10 or 15% more distance. And you just keep doing that until you get to that level that you want. I mean, there's more to it. But the most important thing is like having consistency and having rest days. So remember, you're 33. You're not 16, okay? I know a lot of people are like, I used to do this and that when I was in high school. You're like, yeah, that's been 10 years or more. Tone it down there, champ. So for the endurance sports like a marathon and beyond, you will lose muscle mass if you don't include strength training. So some people are worried about, I'm bulky, I don't really want to run, I want to lose my bulk. Well, if you actually weight train while you're doing the marathons, you won't lose the muscle mass. You're not going to gain because running that much is catabolic, but you'll at least stay the same. You'll also get faster finishing, better ergonomics, and you'll recover faster if you do weight training along with your running. And lift heavy because you already got endurance. So a lot of runners, they'll say, well, I'm going to do lighter weight, but do like 20 of them to build my endurance. Like, no, you already got the endurance. You run so much. You're good. You need to build some heavy lifting and work out those tendons and everything a little bit more. And keep your core strong. That's one of the big things he was talking about, is working your core a lot. It lets you finish without being overly fatigued. And, those last couple of miles, you're really tired. So you get your form gets bad, your time drops. But if you actually were working on your core and you're strong, you can actually finish strong too. A lot of people get injured. He couldn't say that's a myth. 70% will get hurt in a year. So it's an impact sport, And a lot of people do too much too soon, and so they hurt something. Or they don't stop when they feel something's off, okay? Form, he thought was kind of cool. Don't overstride. Like your feet should land over your hips. And then 170 cadence is a good cadence. Because you can still do a 9-minute mile, but you just take some more steps. Because apparently that's what it was. A lot of people want to do longer strides to like make up for time and everything. But he's saying, no, just make it shorter so that your foot falls underneath your hip, but then you just do more steps. So instead of 150 cadence, you want to do 170, and you'll still be able to go as fast as you're going, but you're not going to run yourself out. One of the reasons why you see fat marathon runners and things like that, he goes, you can carb load. Yeah, for a marathon, definitely. Carb load the day. Go for it. A 5K, you don't need a carb load because you're going to carb load the night before, then They're probably going to have like a donut there. You may or may not eat it. But when you're done, you might have a donut. You might have a bagel. You're drinking a Gatorade. And look, you only ran 3 miles. So you're really ingesting a lot of carbs that you didn't even burn. And if you're doing that on training as well, that's why you never really lost the weight that you thought you would lose while you're running. So I thought that was a interesting take on it from a guy who does lots of this stuff and trains and teaches and everything. So thanks again. Reach out on any of the social medias. Justin Troxler, MCC, Media, Commerce, Chiropractic. Love you. Thanks for writing reviews. doctorperspective.net/reviews. Y'all just went #behind the curtain.